Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Sierra Colima, Tango Foxtrot, engine failure. I'm just outside Savage Tower. We'll make the forced landing on Freeway.
Welcome to the Flying High Podcast, with inspiring meetings with people that got love for the aviation industry and passion for adventure. This is Sky Talk.
Okay. Hi, Alberto.
Hi.
Welcome to this podcast.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you. So, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Alberto, my name. Born in Chile. Came to Sweden when I was 3 years old. Been living in Gothenburg my whole life. And started flying 2007. Instructed 2011. And flying professionally 2017. On a private jet. I'm still there flying a private jet, a Citation Latitude, for a company in Zurich.
Okay, cool. But you still live in Gothenburg?
Yeah, still in Gothenburg. Yeah. So it's a commuting contract.
Oh,
so
okay,
whenever
cool.
they need me, I just fly down, and when I'm off, I fly back home.
Oh, cool. So how does a normal work week look like for you?
Well, the schedule we have now is 3 weeks on, 1 week off. But the deal was, because we're only 3 pilots on this aircraft, that we communicated with the owner that when he doesn't need the aircraft, we can go home. So, like now, it's my duty time, and he doesn't need it until Saturday. So
nice.
So then I could go home and be here to do this podcast at least.
Yeah.
And and difficult to describe a work week, because when I'm away, it depends on him, where he wants to go, and we just fly him there.
Yeah,
So
nice.
Yeah, fulfill his need.
So you usually pick him up in Zurich?
No, we pick him up in the company is based in Zurich, but we fly him out of Frankfurt usually.
Okay, cool. And then usually within Europe?
Yeah, within Europe,
Yeah.
in the middle to London, Paris, or around this.
And whenever you fly him, do you usually stay?
Yeah, we stay in the same time he stays. So if he's 2 days in London, we're 2 days in London, or 3 days in Paris, or
Nice.
wherever he wants to go.
And you can do whatever you want?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the beauty of the private pilot's contract.
I've seen some pictures on your Instagram when you've been to Nice, I think?
Yeah, that was a good time, yeah.
Yeah.
It's always been nice, but that was the previous employer. We flew a lot to Nice and around the Mediterranean, to Italy and to Cyprus.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really nice to extend the summer.
Yeah.
This I miss now when it's March here, coming and it's still cold.
Yeah.
I usually would be now in Cyprus and enjoying the sun.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So for all of you that can't see the weather outside, it's low IFR right now, which means super low clouds.
I would say it's the classic Gothenburg weather.
Yeah. And you were supposed to fly today,
Yeah,
but it's perfect pod weather, so
Yeah.
now you're here instead.
yeah, good timing I would say.
Yeah. So why did you decide to become a pilot?
I guess it was a boy's dream. It always been. When I've seen pictures of myself when I was young, this I don't remember, but looking at the pictures, I had a little Lego plane, and always been interested in airplanes. And I think before the military service, I asked the recruiter, going into the military, I wanted to do something that involves aircrafts. I want to be a pilot later on in life, so if I could do something in the military that involves aircraft, would be super. And I think she misunderstood, because she put me in the area of the military that shoots down the aircraft. So I got to be a radar commander there at least, and track the aircraft on the radar and shoot them down during the military service. But at least it was something involving aircraft, just kind of a wrong direction.
Yeah.
And after military service, I think I just did work here and there for 1 year, and then I just decided, okay, let's try this pilot stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Better try and fail than to never try at all, and just went all in.
Yeah.
And that's when I started school in 2007.
Yeah, and we went to the same school in Gothenburg. Yeah. Yeah, you said you fly privately now. Was it hard to get there?
I kind of got there, well, not hard, it was just timing. I think everything in aviation is not never hard, it's just about timing and to always be kind of ready. And you know this saying that if you could have it in your, if you can see it in your mind, you will have it in your hand, that you can visualize the future. I kind of thought about that, so I kind of managed everything in my life to be ready. So like the apartment, I could just leave because I was renting. Work I had at the time, I wanted to be contracted only by the hour, so no fix. So everything was basically set up for I can go tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then one day, a friend of mine told me that they needed a first officer in the private jet sector, which I never considered. And thought about it, talked with parents and everything because I needed to pay for the rating myself. So it's always a risk because normally you only pay for one rating because that's what I can afford, and then this is the path I'm going to go in. It's the private jet sector.
Yeah.
So I decided to just, better myself, and once you're in and I started to get the hours, you become more attractive to other jobs also. And the first job I stayed in I started in March and ended in, started the next one in November. So it was I just got 100 hours and got in contact with a student, actually helped me out. He said that, by the way, I know a buddy who knows somebody who knows somebody that they need a pilot in Shanghai, I think it was, to get in contact with them. And I just sent in my resume, my 100 hours, and they got back to me, not from Shanghai, but from Luxembourg, a company in Luxembourg, saying that, yeah, we need a pilot. And I was type rated in the same aircraft. So it was easy for them, just come here, start.
Yeah.
And then I got in another company, and then the ball got rolling, got in more hours, and now I'm here.
Yeah. That's usually how it works in aviation. Like you know somebody who knows somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To always be nice to everybody within aviation,
Yeah.
because you never know.
Yeah. You never know who's going to be your boss
Yeah,
or
exactly.
your contact. So, did you ever fly anyone famous?
I have. Don't think I can mention it though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
that's
they're
cool.
paying for private, so it has to stay private.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's
Sorry
cool.
for that.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I know that's a common question from a lot of people. So whenever you started flight school, I know that you had an incident.
Yeah,
happened.
I had.
Yeah. Can you please
One
tell
of
us
the-
about it?
Yeah, it was back in 2008. I was going to do my solo navigation at night to just the nearby airport of Gothenburg to Trollhättan. And I needed to do this navigation, and I was not scheduled to do it. It was one of my classmates had the session, but he was only supposed to be in the traffic circuit. So I talked to him and like, come on, give me the session because I need to do the navigation, and it's usually bad weather. So now it's okay, I can go. It's good weather. Can I please have the session? And he said, yeah, okay, take it. So I took the aircraft just 1 hour before it was time for his flight.
And what aircraft was it?
The Diamond 40,
Okay.
a single engine piston. And so it was rush, like hurry up, okay, fix the flight plan, I got it. Talked to the instructor, I'm going instead. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, fine, weather is okay, go. Fueled up the aircraft because it was only fuel to be in a traffic circuit. So I quickly fueled and boom, away I went. Because I needed a minimum type of hours and I needed to get to Trollhättan and back before they closed. So it was a little bit of rush to get away. Departed, and usually when you fly solo at night, it's kind of easy to navigate, especially when you're going to city. So after takeoff and like 4 minutes out, I could see Trollhättan, the light. So it's like, okay, I'm going there. And just, okay, there's one going, pointed there and started flying and leaving Säve and contacted Gothenburg. Before I contacted them, the engine stopped at 1,500 feet.
So not high at all.
Not high at all. And my first thought was like, what did I touch? and just looked at the aircraft because it was, all the noise from a single engine piston and suddenly it was just quiet. So I thought, what happened? Okay, it is happening. Okay, boom, emergency checklist and doing the procedures. Didn't start. Like, okay, call the Mayday.
Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Sierra Echo Lima, Tango Foxtrot, engine failure. I'm just outside Savage Tower. We'll make the forced landing on Freeway.
Sierra Tango Fox, Roger, and wind at service 200 degrees, 8 knots, QNH 1028.
Roger.
Look to the right, completely dark. Forest, lakes, meadows, everything. Dark and just a few houses, maybe some few lights. And okay, nothing to aim there. Look to the left, saw the freeway, going for the freeway. And then you kind of just sit there. Yeah. I did my emergency checklist, I did my Mayday, I know where I'm going. You're like, okay. You're just gliding there.
Yeah.
Oh, no. And I remember thinking when I turned, because on like base to the freeway, I saw the lights on the freeway and I couldn't see from which side of the road they were coming from, from the left, middle or right. Mm-hmm. So I was hoping they were coming from the left so I could glide with the traffic on the right hand side. And also I remember thinking, I'm gonna hurt myself soon. And it's gonna hurt. Yeah. I will feel maybe when I break a bone, because usually if you break something, you're not aware of it, it just happens and doesn't, thinking that it's gonna hurt soon. And I was looking at it, I'm turning final, soon I'm gonna be in pain. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, should I go for the water on the side? And I was looking, can I see the lines of the river? And I can only see a few lights, but I remember from driving in that area that the lights are in this big wooden, what do you call it, out to help out the boats. So that, okay, where the lights are, I cannot go down, and it was kind of difficult to see exactly.
Yeah, it's hard to see water.
Yeah, hard to see water, and also it was February.
Oh yeah.
So I was thinking it's gonna be cold also. And go for the road, there was not so many cars, and it looked kind of clear. And approaching, I saw a sign on the side that said Ale Torg, like the square of Ale. So I just quickly called it in on the frequency on the radio to let them know that this is the area I'm gonna go down in.
Yeah.
And the first thing I felt approaching, because of course the lights were coming from the right side, the light poles. And okay, I tried to fly as close as I can into the right. And then I felt like two, boom, boom. And it was the wing hitting two light poles. And then when that happened, I had no control of the aircraft anymore. So it went to the left a little bit, bounced on a car, out on the left side of the road.
Like on the top of the car?
On the top of the car, exactly when the front window meets the roof. There, slammed in with the wheel. Went out to the left and glided on the grass. And back in the day there, because this freeway now is repaired and some other stuff, there was a T intersection. And before the road is like that little wall stopped the whole speed I was having.
Oh wow.
And I bounced up on the road and just glided on the T intersection and came to a complete stop there.
That's
and then just sitting there like, okay, well I guess I better get out.
Yeah.
And when you get out, I jumped out and I saw like 5 cars were blinking on the side of the road, and you just, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah. How old were you when this happened?
I was 23.
23.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So whenever you when this happened, did anyone, were you on a frequency? Was it like a tower or something?
Yeah, I was with Gothenburg.
Okay.
Gothenburg frequency, the upper.
And did you feel like they were like helping?
They did what they, well, afterwards, because I remember from theory that when you say the Mayday, they just basically stay quiet. So nobody talked. I remember there was another flight speaking on the frequency coming in for approach, but not much more than that. I just said my stuff, what I needed to say, and then it was quiet.
Oh wow.
They did their thing on their side. When I landed, I made 3 phone calls. First to the rescue service, and when I called them, and they were like, "Yeah, Alberto here. I just landed on a freeway." They were like, "Yeah, we know it's you. Okay, how are you?" So they were already aware.
Yeah.
"Oh, it's you. Okay, how are you? Everything's good. What do you need?" Like, "Oh, yeah, there's 5 cars here blinking, so there's some ambulance, and I'm fine, and they're just there, so all good."
Because you didn't hurt yourself at all.
No.
No.
Actually, that's what I did after landing. When I stopped, I felt my legs and everything, like, because maybe I hurt myself and I cannot feel my feet anymore.
Yeah.
But I felt everything was good. A little bit shaky.
Yeah. It must have been really shaky.
Yeah, a little bit, just from the hit to the wall.
Yeah.
I think that what did it. But no, so 3 phone calls to the emergency service, and then I called my instructor. And my instructor thought that something had happened because I just took off.
Yeah.
That I had a problem with at the fuel station or something.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, "Yeah, what is it?" "I made an emergency landing on a freeway." You know, "What?" "I'm okay. Everything's here. I'm just letting you know that I did an emergency landing on a freeway just outside of Säve control zone, and all is good. I'll call you back and let you know more." You're like, "Okay, yeah, okay, yeah."
Yeah.
In a little bit of shock also for him to absorb and realize what just happened. And third call to girlfriend. "I'm gonna be home late. Just, I crashed an aircraft and she didn't believe me." "Oh, yeah, you crashed. Just say you're gonna be late, don't give you such a stupid reason."
Yeah.
"I crashed, I don't have time to convince you. Bye."
Yeah.
And then I just stood there, looking. Like, okay.
Did anyone from the cars come up to you and...
One guy was, but I believe he was in total shock. But he actually came and knocked on the window before I got out. And he was complaining that he had some stones flying, because his car was like, got hit by a few stones, gravel. He was like, "Yeah, I got these marks now on the car from the gravel, from the aircraft." He started, "How can we do this with the insurance?" Really?
Really? This is what you're gonna ask me now?
So I think he was just in shock of seeing an aircraft there. And he was like, "Yeah, the insurance, because this gravel didn't make marks on my car, I need to have money for this." I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah." And I just
God.
and I remember I pointed to the tail of the aircraft. "You see the name there on the tail? They will fix it. So let me be."
Yeah.
And then
oh my God.
And then
not like, "Are you okay?" Nothing?
No, nothing. "No, are you okay?" Nothing. But shock from him.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
And then I saw the aircraft from Säve, the helicopters. 2 of them, so I saw them all the way coming. The emergency, the search and rescue, and the ambulance, because they're based in Säve.
Yeah.
So they were there after like 6 minutes or something.
And they landed like next to you?
Yeah, that was pretty cool actually.
Yeah, I bet.
But the first one there were the firefighters from a nearby town.
Okay.
They were there after like 4 or 5 minutes, so they came immediately. And secured the area and everything, and then a few minutes later the helicopter came. That was pretty cool when they, with this lights, they illuminate the whole area, and they just flew over the area and checked everything out with the lights, and then pop, 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 came down.
Yeah.
Like, and I was standing there like, did I do this?
Yeah. And that's when you were like, "Oh, I wish I flew helicopters."
No. Oh, never. And then it was just a process of, I was there on site for 2 hours. The police came and they put me in the car because some reporters were walking around after a while, just to be out of sight. And I did the usual stuff. I had to blow, check for alcohol and stuff like that, but all good. And then I was just on the site. The pilots or the ambulance people from the helicopter asked me if I wanted to go to the hospital. And I said, "Why?" "I'm okay."
Yeah.
Nothing. "Are you sure?" All good.
Yeah. You should have gone just to get to fly a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. Just to get to fly the helicopter from. I had my opportunity.
Yeah.
And I called a buddy to pick me up. A classmate. He was there in the school also. So he came.
Was that the guy that you took the flight from?
No, another.
No.
Yeah.
So you told me that whenever it happened, time passed really slowly.
Slowly, it passed. When you have time, because the thing nobody teaches you is that when you've done everything you could, you reach this time between impact and you did everything. Just time.
Yeah.
Of what can I do now? And just left there to think.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, like 1,500 feet is not a lot.
No, it took 2 minutes, I believe.
Yeah.
From that engine stopped to ground.
Yeah. So you talked to the person who drove the car with the dog in the roof.
Yeah, I talked to him on site, and he asked me if I was okay. Well, he was because he was kind of old. He was 74. They put him immediately on a stretcher on the ambulance. So they were carrying him into the ambulance. He was kind of, sorry, how are you? He was like, how are you? Are you okay? Like, you're the one on the stretcher. I'm here standing. I'm okay. I'm fine. But I think still, but I talked to him afterwards, and he don't remember this. That I went to him.
He doesn't remember.
No, he doesn't remember. So he was also a bit in shock.
Yeah, it's crazy how people react when they are in shock.
Yeah, I mean, one guy, you were just above me. He completely forgot, and the other one wanted insurance money.
Yeah, yeah.
Two different,
That's
categories.
Crazy. I was actually one time when I was working as a flight attendant. I was driving back home in the middle of the night because we landed like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I drove from Oslo. So on my way back home, I saw this car that was on the side of the road, and he had driven off like a curve. And we went and stopped and checked if he was okay, and the car was total trashed, like the whole front. And the first thing he said to us was, hey girls, can you help me push this car up? I need to go to work. And we were like, you're not gonna get to work in that car. And he said, oh yeah, I will, it's a Volvo.
Yes.
And I was like, I had tried to hold my laugh back, but it was so funny. And that's when I realized, I was like, okay, that's what shock does to people. Like, makes them say weird things.
Make no sense and
stuff. So were you ever scared of getting in trouble when
initially when I came back to the school, because I went back to the flight school, my buddy picked me up and stayed with me a little bit on the crash site and saw because I needed to calm down a little bit the situation. And on his way he called me and I cannot get through because traffic is stopped. And I just told him, well, just drive on the wrong side. There's nobody coming because it's stopped from here also, so there's no oncoming traffic. So he came, sat with me a little bit in the police car. He needed also to relax a little bit after what he saw, and then we went back to the flight school. And then I started thinking, like, okay, what happened here? Why did I miss something? Did I rush too much? Did I did something wrong because I had fuel before the flight? They closed down the tank at Säve because suspecting it was something with the fuel, contamination or something. So I thought, so the whole evening and then night, like, what did I do? Did I miss something? Did I do something wrong? Because you always, we've been told, all these rumors that if you have one incident or something that's your fault, you're never gonna get a job. I was like, did I do something to mess this up now? In the morning I met with one of the technicians at school, and they could not say anything. But he just told me there was nothing you could do. I cannot tell you what happened, he said, but I can just ease your mind and tell you that there was nothing that you could have done to save the situation. I'm like, okay.
Good.
It was not me then.
Yeah. So did the school have like a debrief with you afterwards, or talk to you about what happened?
I think they did. I don't remember. I mean, it was 16 years ago.
Yeah.
I think they did. We talked it through, and I mean, I went to class the next day.
Yeah.
I had theory, ATPL. I'm not gonna miss this stuff just because I crashed.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, the subject we had was about the annexes. The different annexes, and it was about Annex 13, basically accident. What happens when an accident? What's the chain of events that starts?
Yeah.
you're all correct.
Yeah.
This is exactly what happens,
Yeah.
because during the when I was on site with the police, they told me, yeah, here's the Swedish what do you call it, air investigators. We want to just talk to you quickly.
So they came to the site as
No,
well?
they called
they
the police
called
and they
you.
gave me
Okay.
the phone. So
Okay.
can you because they want to hear it from you immediately before you start creating
Yeah.
pictures in your head of what happened. So I talked to them for like 2 minutes, and they were like, "Okay, thanks." And this was exactly what we talked about the next day in theory. Like, they will call you immediately just to get it. Like, yeah, correct.
Oh, that's cool. So what did they ask you?
What happened?
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Just tell us what happened. I just told them, yeah, engine stopped. I landed on a freeway.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. You know why it stopped? I have no idea. Okay, thanks. Kind of short.
Yeah. Whenever it happened, did you feel like you panicked? Did you feel pretty calm?
I felt calm. I didn't really panic or anything. I was just thinking, now I'm gonna hurt myself.
Yeah.
Basically, I did what I could. Is there anything more I could do? You're just looking at the aircraft. Is there anything more I could do? No, not really. I did my Mayday. Okay, let's.
Yeah.
And just gliding.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people ask. At least they asked me, like, if the engine quits, do you just go down? Like, you can still glide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's also the question I had that people are misunderstanding. If the engine stops, you're just gonna drop like a rock.
Yeah.
But no, then I become a sailplane.
Yeah.
Can glide somewhere safe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so cool. Were you ever scared to go back?
No, I wanted to fly immediately the day after.
Yeah.
I wasn't scared at all because as soon as they told me it's not my fault, I really wanted just to get up in the air again and feel the aircraft. But they were all grounded until they knew the cause.
Yeah.
So I had to wait 1 week.
One week.
Because Diamond released the day after like a safety bulletin of what needed to be done because they found out quite quickly what it was.
Okay.
And so maintenance just needed to fix that for all our fleet at the school, and then we were good to go.
Oh wow! So the day after.
I wanted to go up right away.
Yeah, but
I
that's
want to
pretty fast to come out with a bulletin, right?
Yeah, they heard about it and immediately
Yeah.
safety bulletin.
Yeah. So what was it?
It was a fuel pipe that that came loose. The engine had been upgraded from a 1.7 liters to 2.0 liters. And as I understood it, they had to reduce the weight a little bit, bigger engine, but want to keep the weight down. So they switched some of the metals to a lighter metal. And one of them was this fuel pipe. Don't hang me if I'm wrong, as I understood it from the report.
Yeah.
And because it's a diesel engine, they kind of vibrate a lot when they start. So all of these starts create a little crack where it's connected to the like a high fuel pressure that feeds through the pipe into the engine. And the engine I flew was like 45 hours old, and the aircraft at the time when I took it had done approximately 45 starts. And usually, because we usually fly only 1 hour, so it corresponds to it. So when they looked at it, it had cracks already.
Oh wow! 45 hours. That's nothing.
No, that's nothing for an engine, and they found a lot of cracks, and it was just when it was because it had been leaking fuel before, because the way it's constructed, the engine, is that it gets more fuel than it needs, and the fuel it doesn't need, it just sends it back.
Okay. Yeah.
So it had been leaking before, but not so much that anybody saw or discovered it. And just when it was my time, it came loose.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe right person at the right place too.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Maybe the other guy would have taken the water or something.
Yeah. Or the first guy would have just stayed in the pattern and he couldn't land at the runway.
That would have been the safer part, yeah.
Yeah, well, you never know. But did you change any of your routines after it happened?
The only thing that I changed is the mentality from training, emergencies and everything, that it can actually happen.
Yeah.
To take it a little bit more serious. And this is also what I teach the students now, that think about this. It can happen. Hopefully not, but use it as it would
Yeah.
It can happen, all the things we practice. That's why we do it. That's basically why we need a pilot
Yeah.
to take care of this stuff. And yeah, that's what I take with me. And also that I now know a little bit of how I react, because normally you never know if you're gonna panic when something like this happens, or how you're gonna react in a.
Some people just freeze and they don't.
If you freeze,
Yeah.
you panic and do random stuff. So now at least I know a little bit of how I react in a situation like this.
Yeah. I think that when things like this happen, you get so much adrenaline, and then just like you did, like you took up the emergency checklist, did your radio calls, like aviate, navigate, communicate, and then, I mean, you did everything right. But I think when you have all that adrenaline, that's when kind of time stops, because you're so focused.
Especially when you've done everything.
Yeah.
Then it really stops.
Yeah.
You're just okay. What now?
Yeah. I think it's. I mean, you never wish for it to happen, but I think it's really good to experience things like this.
Yeah. When with the outcome now in hand, or whatever, everything went well and stuff like this, it's like all went well.
Yeah.
So afterwards, because the aircraft was totally trashed, except for the engine, because the engine was stopped in the air. I mean, it took no damage. So the engine, they sent it back to the manufacturer. They looked at it, recertified it, and then it got put in another aircraft that we had in the school. And that's when I felt, when I came back, because this was I don't know, a few months after the accident, that I was doing my pre-flight and checking the oil, and the engine like, hey, you better behave now.
Yeah.
Last time it was not so good. Trust you now, engine, please.
Yeah.
And flew. So that was
Were you scared to fly it?
No, it was just this feeling, okay. I've never been looking out for feels. If it would have happened again, I would have been more prepared, even, because I was constantly looking out, and it was during the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I knew last time you failed, now I'm ready.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Do you feel like people around you took care of you? I mean, you told me about the ambulance helicopter who came.
Yeah, I think they did everybody did what they're supposed to be. I think
Yeah.
everybody works on a routine when it happened. The fireman, the ambulance helicopters, the search and rescue, everybody they're doing what they're being trained to do, and no surprises really, it just functions.
Yeah.
The whole system.
Yeah.
How it works, everything. And afterwards it was kind of relaxed.
Yeah. I think that's so cool with aviation, that you have kind of this checklist on what to do, and that's what you practice all the time during flight school and when you're a flight instructor, and then yearly on your checks, and how it just works. And it's the same for I guess people that works for the police or ambulance, and they also have their.
It's a routine kind of, so really no surprises in how they work. They know what to do and get it done.
Yeah, maybe the school isn't as drilled.
Nah, the school is not as drilled. For them, it's a new situation. They were like, okay, are you okay? How do you want to move on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Did you have to pay for the flight?
Nope.
No.
The only flight I have for free.
Yeah.
In the logbook, I believe, that I haven't paid for during my vacation.
Yeah.
And logged.
Yeah. What did you log?
I logged from Säve Airport to the Freeway's name, which is called E45. So I had it logged 0.4 hours.
Oh, that's so cool.
One landing. It's still a landing.
Yeah. Yeah. With a broken wing.
With a broken. You always say, a good landing is one you can walk away from, and a very good landing is one you can use the aircraft again. So I guess this was just a good landing.
It was a half good, or it was a good
because
landing.
I could walk away.
Yeah, you could walk away.
I could not use the aircraft again.
You could use the engine still.
The engine, yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. Probably, could probably use a lot of the radios and other things inside the aircraft too.
Spare parts.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel like you're a better pilot today because of it?
I think so, yeah. Just the fact, what I mentioned, I just have it in mind that it can happen. Especially when you're going into critical areas, when you're flying, for example, at low altitude and it's just forest around you, you become a little bit more aware of it. If it happens here, where can I go?
Do you usually fly higher
Yeah.
these days?
Flight school, I stay at the altitude it's needed, but it's much more the awareness that, okay, now we're in this area, where would I go if something happens?
Yeah.
And flying at night, I study the terrain more. I study the dark areas more. When you see like a car driving from, I saw a light from this light to this light, he drove straight, I know there's a road there between these two lights or something like this. And also the freeway I crashed in now, it's been rebuilt. Now I could easily just land without a problem. It's wide enough. It's have nice lights and everything. The lights come from the middle. It's perfect for landing now.
Yeah, and then they would just ask, oh, I see you again.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah. So you said before that there's this rumor about if you have an incident or an accident that was your fault, that you have a hard time getting a job in the future. Do you feel like it's the opposite now when you had
I
that?
feel that they don't care because it happened on a single engine piston. I think they refer to more if it happened professionally on an airline or something, if something happened to you there. Because a lot of companies, when you look for job, it says there are no incidents or accident. And I think they refer to on a jet or on a professional level. Because all the interviews I've been to, they were like, oh, fun, nice experience, good for you.
Yeah.
And then moving on.
I don't think it hurts.
It doesn't hurt, but they don't care so
Yeah.
much about it. It's not a plus or a minus. It's just like, oh, fun story, moving on.
Yeah.
So telling the other aviators or the recruiters, like, yeah, by the way, then say, you had an incident or something? Yeah, I had a engine failure during my night course, single engine piston at 1,500 feet. I was like, okay. Where do you live? Immediately moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I couldn't care less.
Couldn't care less, so okay, fine.
Does it affect how you teach today?
Yeah, I'm more try to induce the stress sometimes with the students in this emergency situation. So it's not just, okay, engine failure, and it's planned. More the surprise element. And during normal flying, just ask them, what would you do if it happens here? I will go there. Okay, what can you consider if you go there? Well, how does it look? To open up the possibility of the mind to think about stuff a little bit more. For example, during takeoff, the first 500 feet, be aware, be ready. Because that's the more critical part. After 500 feet, you have a little bit more time. And also, because, like, okay, we use SAV all the time. If you're departing runway 01 to the north, something happens at 500 feet, how does it look with the meadows? Yeah, you have one to the right, okay, just keep it in mind. To the south, what do you have? Yeah, we have the Volvo test area. Keep it in mind. You know it's there or something. So, to create the awareness that it can happen and to take the training seriously.
Yeah.
Because when it happens, we go on autopilot of what we've been taught. And it's really autopilot. In how you say stuff and how you act. It's all because you're not thinking. It's in your muscle memory. This is what you're going to do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so whenever you're a student, you don't really, like you said, you don't really expect it to happen. You hear about, it happened, Hudson River, you know, like, oh, that's far away and it won't happen to me because I did my pre-flight check and everything is good, it looks good, but there's so many parts that you can't really check either because, like you say, they have, parts that you can't see or, internal things that is happening in the engine or in the aircraft. But something that I think is really cool is that every company or manufacturer is looking into every incident and accident, and then they make sure that it won't happen again. Yeah.
But the thing, you can never know what fault they have in the design until it happens regarding the mechanic. How they fix this issue with the pipe, they just put a clamp on it.
Yeah, that was an easy fix.
That was it. It was just the vibrations were too much from one end to another. They were too long between the fixtures.
And like the metals were like too close?
No, it was a fixture on 2 points from the high pressure pump into the, like a common rail that injects the fuel into the engine. the distance was too much. So every start vibrated too much.
Oh yeah.
So they just put a clamp in the middle to hold it, and that just turns
so
out to be that was enough.
Yeah.
Nothing happened since, like 16 years now. So
It's so funny too, because it's like the most basic thing.
so easy.
Yeah.
A clamp, that's it.
Yeah.
It was all it took.
Yeah, it's. I remember that when I started pilot school, and you think that everything is so advanced, and it's like, oh, this is a jet engine, or this is, this is a helicopter, an aircraft, and then it's the tiniest little things that matter.
Just my own interest now that after this accident, I myself became more interested in other accidents and why they happen, and I became more interested also in this psychological part in an accident, why pilots do wrong stuff that we've been trained.
Yeah.
And it's always the question, I mean, we train it so much and practice and simulate, how come that sometimes when stuff happens, we don't do it?
Yeah.
We fall back to some other stuff of feeling, and we react more on feelings. And there's a lot of accidents, where aircraft have stalled, perfectly fine aircraft stalled all the way to the ground, and the only thing they needed to do was just to push the stick forward or the column forward, and everybody will be safe. And this I find interesting, like the chain of event that led up to that point that the pilot did not react, because it's not just, it stalled, he panicked and didn't. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
It's the how did you get there?
Yeah.
What happened before? So I read more accident reports, and somebody's nerdy out there and read accident reports and study, not just this happened and they crashed. No.
Yeah.
Go back further.
Yeah. Usually it's a chain of events, like
and
you
that's
said.
what I find more interesting now.
Like usually it's maybe a little bit of stress because you have to go somewhere, or like in your case, could have been,
could have been
part of
influenced,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I think about also, that even if you have to, I mean, they usually say hurry, but hurry calm.
Yeah.
And that's something to take with you. Never stress away.
Yeah.
Don't risk it. It's not worth it.
Yeah. And in your case, it was not your fault. It was the engine, or the reconstruction of the engine. But I've heard that over 90% of the accidents are usually because of the human factor.
Yeah.
That, you do one thing wrong and it leads to another thing, and it's just this chain of events that.
And it's fun because it also goes back, because it's emotional, this with the startle effect when something happens. How much back emotionally it goes, because you really can go back to your first day of flying, what you've been taught there. So if you were taught wrong, something incorrect there, even if you relearn it later, when something happens, you can emotionally immediately go back to that and do something wrong.
Yeah, the law of privacy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How hard it really gets wired in you. If you have, and that's what I think about when teaching, to don't say anything incorrect.
Yeah.
keep it real. Don't make stuff up.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you call? We call it in Swedish "killgissa."
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah. When you.
A guy guess, exactly. If I don't know it, I just say something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's really good, and I think it's good for people to hear that. I mean, things can happen in the aircrafts, but the aircraft can still fly, it can still glide, and that it can turn out good.
Yeah, and I mean, stuff happen all the time that people know about, a lot of small malfunctions, and at the end of the day, instead of thinking when you're flying, instead of thinking, okay, what don't I have? Change that mind, and what do I have?
Yeah.
What can I use? Instead of what can I not use? Or like, can you just go back to basic flying, disconnect everything, pitch and power. Start from there, and then add stuff that works.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and maybe I hear you on a frequency.
Yeah, if you stay at the if you stay within Europe, yeah.
Yeah. If I stay within Europe, maybe I'll talk to you in Greece or something.
Yeah.
What's your? Do you have your own call sign?
Yeah, the company name. So for now, it's Premium Jet.
Premium Jet.
Yeah, it's Premium. If you hear that, that's us.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.